What is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us on this Victory Tuesday. Minnesota Vikings knocked off the Jets in London 23-17 to move to 5-0. Going into the bye week, feeling pretty good. We'll have plenty of time to talk about the game itself, but Jamie was actually over there for the game, is still overseas right now. So let's take a little bit here. What's the experience like over there? What was the game like? Tell us all about it.
You hear me all right? You guys,
Yeah.
you see me all right? Everything? I'm not too blurry, anything like that?
Oh, you're looking pretty good.
I'm good.
Better
Nice,
than usual,
nice,
actually.
nice,
So hey,
nice.
maybe London's good for you.
Um, First off, let's do some shout outs here. My guy Gary's in the building, of course. Sup, Skull Mates, Bob Swede, Skull Gary, Skull Mafia, Skull to Gary. Let's go. I see the couple down here. Jamie was a fish and chips. Good. Jamie, were the chance and decibels compared? How were the chance and decibels compared to the bank, US or to the bank? I guess I'll just start with answering that real quick, and that would be it was good. I mean, it was definitely a home game for the Vikes. I know, obviously, it was supposed to be a home game, anyways. I kind of wish it was an away game because because when you go in there, I mean, everything was Vikings. Like they made it look like a home game for the Vikings. But think either way, if it was a home game for the Jets, I think we would have saw way more Viking fans there than Jets fans. There's way more Viking fans there. So it did get loud. It's smaller. It's a lot smaller than US Banks. I don't know the exact number of people that can fit in there, but it's definitely smaller than US Bank. Um, so it was quieter. It's not quite US Bank Stadium, but I mean, hey, I think everybody in there did a good job for the most part. In general, though, man, obviously, it was a super cool experience to go over there, and it's crazy for that part of this whole trip to be done. I have a couple more days here. If anyone's seen the community post, we left like yesterday. We flew from London, and now we're in Ireland, in a small coastal town. So that's where I'm at right now. But it's crazy that that part's done. It was cool. We've been taking trains everywhere in London. Specifically, we took a train to the stadium, walked like a couple blocks from there. Went to it was kind of cool because they had like a Jets bar. I don't know if they like specifically made one for like the Jets and made one with the for the Vikings, but I went into the Jets bar and it took me like, I don't know, like an hour to get a drink. And I wouldn't like, it was taking forever. I almost quit. And I was like, nah, I'm going to get a drink. And there's a couple, it is kind of funny because there's a couple, like guys from London that were in front of me, like right at the bar. And this is full of Jets fans. And those guys, like, they're polite and stuff. So they weren't like putting their cards out, like doing what you got to do to get a drink in America. And on top of that, you're dealing with your competition for drinks are New Yorkers. So I was behind them. So I was struggling to get a drink. And then I walked out. And then, of course, the Vikings bar was a lot easier to get one, but it was cool. So we had like one side all Vikings, one side all Jets. Jets are doing their chants. We're doing our Vikings chants and all those kinds of things. So that was super cool to see. So the energy was there. Hey, my guy, to Evil, let's go. $2 trade McCarthy for chill. I'll take Dexter Lawrence all day though. And we can probably get into even a little bit. It's bye week. I mean, this is kind of like a combo of this Jets game bye week type situation. Kind of see where we're at. Anyways, but and by the way, what's up, Mark? Mark's in the building. Let's go. Who else we got in here? That's it for now. Let's go. Let's go. So besides that, for the actual game, yeah, definitely a lot of beers. As far as London in general, we went to like a show. We went to the freaking the Book of Mormon out here, which is really funny. So that's like the South Park show. And it was funny because it was like you kind of make fun of Americans because Mormon was a bit from America, whatever, which is kind of funny to kind of watch something like that from a different country. Obviously I see Gary asking, you got to try their soups with every meal, blow your mind. Are you talking about, Jamie? Did you stay in Ireland? I'm in Ireland right now. Actually, and it's 10:30 right now. It's 10:30. Well, 10:39. So it's late over here. But yeah, dude. No, London was sweet. It's kind of like New York. If anyone's been in New York, just kind of a lot of same thing. Ran around drinking, went to some Viking events. There's one bar specifically that was really cool. That was made for Vikings. Like I think they had like a tailgate there and all these other things. We went there. They had that immersive experience. I think I showed you that. The game in general. One thing about that game that I guess Casey knew, but no one else did. My buddy that I went with, who I work with outside of here, Joe Hoka, who I do work with, and he's Joe Hoka Show. So definitely y'all should go follow him on there if you're not already. But you should be. But no, when we went there, he wouldn't tell us where he got a tickets. He bought my tickets. He bought mine and Shelby's, my wife's tickets. And then we show up and we're at like the second row from the field. Actually, there's a SKOL chant video the Vikings took and posted on Twitter, and you can see us in there doing the SKOL chant and all that stuff. So we were 2 rows up from the field, which is insane. I've never been that close before. Unfortunately, we didn't get too much action. And actually, the only action I would have gotten there was Van Ginkel's pick 6, and I was grabbing a beer at that time. So I missed probably the biggest play of the whole game. So that was cool. It was still cool either way. But so, I mean, that whole experience is awesome. Ireland's been great too. The pubs out here in Ireland are fucking crazy. Like they're massive. There's like 6 bars in all of them. They definitely do pubs there, so like on another. Yeah, dude. The pubs out here are definitely another level. And I do like it. Out here, you come into Ireland, it's a lot more chill. London, obviously, is like kind of New York. You're going, it's like go, 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 go. So now we're kind of chilling a little bit, which was a good time for us to kind of pop on and do a podcast and all those crazy things. So yeah, I guess, so, I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at now. I see some of this food. I saw, let me hit up SKOL Mafia with the fish and chips. I'm not a huge, hold on a second. I'm not a huge fish guy. I'm not a huge seafood guy in general. But we did make sure we went to fish and chips. I looked up like the best fish and chips I could find. We did go have them, and they was really good. So definitely hit the fish and chips. That was really good. I would say in general, mostly really good food. I would say they do not salt things to the extent that we do in America. At least some of the foods. I would say some stuff was a little bit bland sometimes. Not so much in Ireland. So far, Ireland's been pretty impressive for everything we've tried here so far as food goes. But I mean, still pretty good. There's still a lot of things we didn't get to try. I tried to do everything. We did the whole history. We jumped around in London and saw a bunch of history stuff, all that good stuff. Did the whole London thing. And yeah, dude, I don't know. Overall, cool experience. But just, I mean, I guess, Casey, did you have any questions or anything on the actual London, as far as like the game goes in London or anything like that before we go into the actual game?
Pretty much, I mean, was it pretty much just run of the mill? Like, because it sounds like they brought like the entire, I saw they brought the Gallerhorn. They had like all like the intro videos. Like they basically made it like a home game experience. Yes.
So I didn't have any shepherd pie here. I've had it before, but we did have some Irish stew. It was pretty good. Is the beer warm? No. All the beer I've had was cold. And you can, yeah, dude. And I've had a lot of it. And I've had like 10 Guinnesses in Ireland already. So, and other beer. It's good. But no, dude, it was actually, I wasn't really expecting that as far as going into the game. I didn't realize that they actually I know they should, because it is technically one of our home games, but I didn't know they were actually going to make it like a home, like everything was purple and gold in there. Viking stuff, Jared Allen getting introduced into Vikings Hall of Fame or whatever at halftime. So everything was just straight Vikings going into their stadium there. So that was pretty crazy. I thought, I wasn't even really expecting it to be like that. And then, yep, they did the whole thing. They had the SKOL chants, the drums, they had the whole shebang there. And luckily, you know, we end up coming out with the W, even though it was kind of close.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that in a second here. But hey, what up, like the Black Bundy and Salil?
What's going on?
Am I cutting out a little bit?
Like, you know, what's up?
Am I cutting out and blurry and stuff?
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Okay, you're cutting out a bit on my side, which is probably because
I mean, who knows? There might end up being a slight delay with everything. But hey, we're trying to make this work. We're on different parts of the world right now. But hey, yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, it really did feel like 2022 Vikings with that game. Like just close call. Especially, I think we had something similar against the Jets, where it came down to 2022 where it came down to like a last second interception. But yeah, I mean, I guess if nothing else, we can start talking about the game. Start talking about the game a little bit. Obviously, like you said, another kind of similar to Green Bay. Start off big, 17-0 in the was that end of the first quarter and into the second quarter, up 17-0, and then obviously it came down to a game sealing interception against Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, I mean, not the prettiest game offensively, and I think obviously Kevin O'Connell mentioned that as well. I mean, Sam Darnold, easily his worst game of the season, 14 of 31, 179. He did have the one interception, no touchdowns. Losing Aaron Jones early hurt, and I feel like that was kind of a big thing. I mean, I talked about on Thursday how the Jets were, pretty bad against the run. I think they were 20th against the run. So I do think a big part of this game was get Aaron Jones going early and often. And obviously after the injury, Ty Chandler, not quite the same type of back. So I do think that ended up throwing things off a little bit here. I think it was supposed to be a heavily game plan towards the run. And then offensively, I think again, we noticed a little bit of that same thing we saw in the Green Bay game. Some play calling that was questionable. I think a lot of people say if you go back and you kind of watch over some of the film, I think a lot of people are kind of saying the game planning was good. Kevin O'Connell called a good game. Sam Darnold it looked like he was trying to go for the home run every time. Maybe there was a little bit of animosity against the Jets. Yeah. So I do think that was, so again, I think there were some play calling gaps, but at the same time, I do think Darnold just was trying to do too much and not taking the open guys. Maybe you were there. Maybe you noticed a little bit more than I did from what I saw. I haven't gone back and watched the replay or anything, but that is kind of what I've been hearing on the internet wise, that the play calling wasn't as bad as it looked. It was mainly just Darnold trying to do too much.
Yeah, I would say just like any game, even when you're that close, especially and you've been drinking a bunch of beer all day or whatever. When I go to games, I don't see it as well as I usually would if I was just to watch it at home or something like that. So I would say like I had to go back and like rewatch everything. Obviously, I kind of understood what was happening there, and I knew Sam Darnold wasn't playing super great in that second half specifically. But like it's a weird thing because I mean after Kirk Cousins, like I like that Sam Darnold wants the home runs, even though even in the Packer games, there was plays where he went for the home run and there's like wide open guys. And he was just missing throws too. So he's a little off. Though I would say one thing I do want to say, because something that like nobody is really talking about, at least when I first initially saw people talking about it today. So Jamie race tonight, potato sack race in Ireland. Yeah, dude. Yeah, we can do that. No, no cards this. I still don't even know what's going on yet back in the Asheville area. I don't even know if the postal service is going yet. But no, where I was going with that, the game.
Oh, I think I might have lost you. Yeah, I think we may have lost Jamie. You good? Oh, there he goes. All right. I guess while I wait for him to get back here, I guess one question that I think a lot of people have been asking is, you good?
We good? You see me? Hear me?
We got you.
Right. So this is gonna be a little bit of a struggle with this probably. Yeah. But no, where was I? So with Sam Darnold. The one thing that not a lot of people are talking about is it was wet. It was really wet for like that entire second half. Like not straight raining, it was just misty. And there's no question, like as far as Justin Jefferson dropping some balls and Sam Darnold's throws being bad, and even Aaron Rodgers, even though he was fighting Garrett Wilson a lot in that second half, I do think, but with all of that going on, I mean, the ball is definitely going to be slippery too. So I do think you have to take that into consideration as far as like what happened into that second half, because it was specifically the second half is when all that started to happen. So
for sure,
I do kind of put a little bit of blame to that, but
yeah, and I do think that the London aspect, I mean, because obviously these guys are going over there. I believe they were told like not to sleep for their first day there, then get caught up on sleep the next day and kind of get their clocks reset. And like something that people said, so I don't think this is an issue of Sam Darnold's like showing. I don't think this is an issue of Sam Darnold reverting back to the Sam Darnold that we saw earlier on his career. Hey, what's going on, Nick? Thanks for hopping in, man. 5-0, let's go. Because like big aspect of this, when people like you want to talk about, yes, this was Sam Darnold's worst game of the season, But like you said, on the flip side, Aaron Rodgers, this is the 6th time in his career he's ever thrown 3 picks in one game, and the first time in his career he's thrown 2 interceptions in one half. I do think it's one of those things, like both teams, their goal, you get into London and hopefully just get out with a victory and get that put behind you. Yes, cool experience to take the trip, super cool experience to go there, but at the same time, the whole goal is just get there and get out of there with a win. So I think Sam Darnold is going to be just fine. I don't, like I said, with Aaron Rodgers kind of doing some things that he hasn't done in the past as well. I think the London aspect does have to be brought into this. And the big thing is, and the big reason why I'm just not at all concerned about this offense as of right now, because like, yes, 5-0, we've seen a lot of good from Sam Darnold. We've seen some issues, but you're going into your bye week. You're 5-0. You have, and then coming up, you have an easier part of your schedule. Yes, Detroit's going to be tough, but mainly tough from an offensive perspective. They have shown if you can keep their pass rushers, like Aiden Hutchinson, away from you, you're able to put up yards on them through the air. So I think for now, there's no reason for Vikings fans to be concerned. Enjoy the bye week. Enjoy being 5-0. You have they have the bye week plus to figure this out. Hopefully we'll see what happens with Aaron Jones. KOC says today is week to week. And if they decide to activate TJ Hawkinson, not sure if that'll happen yet or not, but they have a whole week to prepare, to see what they've done wrong these last couple weeks and fix it. And you got a couple easy defenses coming up where, like I said, Detroit, and then you go to the Rams and they let the Packers put up some big yardage on them. So there's no reason to be concerned now. Just enjoy where we're at. If things start to change a little bit, if you notice a lot of these same issues popping up against Detroit and then against the Rams, I think then you can be a little bit concerned. But as of right now, I trust KOC. I think Sam Darnold is going to be just fine after all of this. Everything's going to be okay. I think everything's going to be okay here, and we'll see. But like I said, you have a couple easier tests coming up against the Lions and the Rams. So I'm not concerned. I think everything's going to be just fine. It's the London experience, man. You just get over there, get a win, and get out.
Right. And like I said, it was, and with the rain, and that's what I was just going to say again to Nick. I already mentioned it. But with Sam Darnold, I mean, he did miss some throws. He did not have a great second half. That whole second half was rainy, and I do think that was part of it. And then Gary, real second here is so far, I would say like the people in Ireland have been super fucking nice and accommodating. I've had people come up to me and like, I don't know, not like no one's definitely try to fight yet. So far, I'd be like nobody's standoffish out here at all. Like in America, there's a lot of, you don't really think about it until you go somewhere else and you're like, people are kind of like standoffish in parts of America or whatever. Here it doesn't feel like that at all. Everybody's been accommodating and talking and everything. But yeah, I'm not really concerned either. I mean, even in this game, and I mean, just as a team in general, I don't feel concerned. And you were talking about, the time change. Yeah, offensively is what you were talking about specifically. But as the team specifically, I'm not concerned. One, because you were talking about the time change, and yes, that is going to affect a lot of people. It's affected me. I handled it pretty good. I did do the same exact thing where I didn't take no naps when I got there, whatever. But one guy that it didn't affect was Will the Thrill Reichard coming in here, 3 field. I mean, dude can't miss, and 2 of them over 50 yards. And I think all 3 of them, I'm pretty sure, maybe 2 of them for sure, were on the end zone that I was sitting near. And that dude, absolute stud there. So you got to feel really confident with what's going on him. And as far as like the other special team stuff, it's terrible. You got to clean that up. KOC has to get on everyone's ass about like not letting that shit happen. All
the
that
rucking the punter was terrible.
Definitely.
The rucking the punter was a terrible.
And that was Ivan Pace. Luckily, he got a sack and he looked good in that game outside of that one play. Like you don't do that. And then what was the other one? The other
one was a Caleb Evans running into the returner.
Yeah.
Flipping his foot or whatever. Yeah, it's just.
So it's just like these are stupid mistakes that I think I heard figured out, and it shouldn't keep happening.
Right. And I think I heard that Caleb Evans was actually like done on special teams at the end of the game. I think they had I don't remember who they had replacing him, but I think they pulled him. I think they might have had Theo Jackson in there instead. And again, and Nick, I agree, but again, I think that was, I don't know if it's necessarily play calling. From what people are saying, it's more of Darnold just, and I think it may have been Darnold just wanting to put some points on his old team and take some shots and get JJ involved a lot. Where yes, because we've seen him take the easy throw or like the open receiver and not trying to do too much multiple times. It's just weird in this game until that last drive, which that last drive, you got to give him credit for that. Like he made 2 big time throws and he almost made a third one, and JJ just dropped it. So
Right.
Again, I think it was more of Darnold. He said it wasn't a revenge game, but I think there was a little part of him that just wanted to make the play. And in a way, yes, I think KOC did call. There were some rough calls, but I do think a lot of it was Darnold just trying, because they showed two plays where one of them he had Johnny Munt streaking over the middle of the field. On the interception, he had what he wanted. He had Addison open, just overthrew him.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Kevin O'Connell did the big thing. He said, "Hey, on offense, we need to be better," and I understand that. But then he gave all the credit in the world to the defense, which is 100% true. So I'm going to put it more on Darnold than I am on KOC. I think Darnold just had a bad game. I think he made some bad throws. I think he missed some wide open receivers. So, and again, I mean, because you're testing two really, really good corners deep, which I didn't love. But.
No, and not even just that. Like, I mean, I think that's at least happened twice in the last 2 weeks when we're like 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, and we go for the deep shot, which I respect sometimes because sometimes it works and then it's great. But most of the time, I mean, if you're going to do the odds and the percentages, like, just get the first down. If it's 4th or 2, 4th 1, or even 3rd and 1 and 3rd or 2, come on. I mean, we can just get the first down. So I wish we would have seen more than that. But like you said with Sam Darnold and some of those plays that he did go longer, it was just a bad throw by him. And it wasn't even like so much always the decisions, but there was a lot of those times where there's a crossing route, like you're talking about with Munt, when he tried to throw it up to Jordan Addison. I believe that was the play that was 4th and 2 or whatever, is when he threw it up to Jordan Addison there. When I think that was the one when Munt was getting wide open, going to the sidelines to the left.
Yeah.
So all those kind of things. Yeah. You're like, and then Aaron Jones' injury is a big concern, and you could see how much better our offense was moving during that time. So without having him, it is more concerning with this offense, but I'm not too worried about it. You get TJ Hawkinson back soon. Justin Jefferson isn't going to be dropping balls like that anymore. Yeah. And we are getting guys wide open. We are getting a lot of wide open guys. It's just Darnold is going to have to not worry so much about the deep ball or whatever. Even though I'm like, after having Kirk Cousins who did get some deep balls, but you do like someone who's just like, it's kind of like the gunslinger mentality a little bit. Right. I like a little bit of that. You just got to be careful, but we're getting that with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, which I mean, that is something that I respect do think, it. Okay. Right, which is that is something you do need to talk about. Like when Sam Darnold went down with that rib injury, Nick Mullins comes in. I'm like, okay, just run the ball and get Sam Darnold back out there. Like people want to talk about, like, O'Connell heard people and they said, don't take your foot off the gas, because he definitely did not. He put Mullins in there and he let Mullins toss one up. If he threw it out in front of Jones, that's probably a touchdown. But I do, because as soon as the ball was snapped, I'm like, wait, why is he lining up with no running backs in the backfield? What are we doing here? Like, and then it was one of those plays where you're like, no. And then Jones catches it and you're just like, oh, okay, cool. Hey, great play. But you got to appreciate that O'Connell will be aggressive no matter who the quarterback is. Like, he trusts Nick Mullins to go out there and take a shot. So for all the people talking about O'Connell letting his foot off the gas last weekend, he definitely proved that not to be the point this week. But
yeah, dude.
But I think he called a lot of good plays. I do think it was mainly just Darnold, for whatever reason, just missing or throwing to the wrong spot. But then we also do need to remember, you're going up against one of the top defenses in football here with two really, really good outside cornerbacks.
Yeah, and on top of that, with Justin, just back to Justin Jefferson real quick, because with Mark Phil here dropping the ball, I do want to say again, I do like. It was wet. It was misty. I think it was definitely going to be more difficult to catch the ball out there. So I'll give Justin Jefferson, at least for that second half, like a little bit. Like, I won't put too much on him. He usually never does that. Obviously, it was last week, right, when he lost against the Packers, when he dropped those two, like 2 or 3 at the end of the game. So hopefully he does clear that up. We know he's going to. That's not something that's going to happen. Another thing, I mean, this score. I mean, there was like Jefferson had at least 4 pass interferences that probably could have been touchdowns, at least on a couple of them, if that didn't happen. And Justin Jefferson still with 4 pass interferences, and even with a couple drops, he still ends up with like 98 yards or whatever.
92. Catches 92
yards, close to 100 yards.
Plus a huge catch on that last drive on the Will Record, where Record hit the 41-yard field goal. Like,
and that's why I'm not too worried about our offense. And every team, the reality is, like, every team almost is going to have bad offensive games. Patrick Mahomes does it. I mean, Josh Allen right now, everybody's talking. I mean, he doesn't have the receivers and stuff that we do, but pretty much every single team is going to run into those. This isn't going to be a perfect season. And the fact that we're 5-0 and everybody's complaining that we're 5-0 because we're not having perfect games all around. And that's the reason why I'm like, you just don't complain. When I was at the game, and of course everyone's going to complain. Everybody's going to be like, yeah, we are 5-0. You can be a little worried. It's fair. You do have TJ Hawkinson coming back. You should be pretty positive about that. Aaron Jones injuries does matter. And I do really, and it already doesn't sound like it's going to be long-term. There's a chance we don't see him next week against Lions, which is going to be, at this point, feels like it's going to be like the biggest game of the year so far. But the biggest thing, because even when I was at that game and I was talking to people after, and I ran into a couple people from like Twitter and stuff that we know. But I was talking to everybody, and pretty much there were some people saying like if they had to put money on that last drive with Aaron Rodgers, they would have bet against us. And I didn't feel like that at all. And the reason why mostly is just because of this defense. And regardless of how the offense doesn't need to be number one in the NFL. Hopefully, and I do think it has everything it needs to be a top 10 offense, but the defense is so good and they make so many plays that you can feel confident in a situation when you're against Aaron Rodgers and he's trying to get down the field. And I was feeling like that's the difference between this year is you do kind of have that feeling of like the Vikings are going to win this game. And it's a scary thing to have as a Viking fan. I get it, but there has been other 2009, 2017, we felt that with those seasons. 2022, we didn't feel that. It was kind of like, it was like that roller coaster season. It felt like we wanted to believe we were as good as our record was, but because of the Donatel defense, like it's the defense that kind of makes you feel more comfortable. 2009, 2017, good defenses. Yep. And that's the reason why, like, that's why I think we're the best team in the NFL right now. It's because of our defense, but I think our offense is still really good. And they've had a couple, at least, well, you can say the offense has slowed down in the last 6 quarters, right? Since the halftime for the Packers game. But I think after this bye week, being able to get everybody healthy, including Sam Darnold, who again in that Packer game came off in the Packer game, he came off in this Jets game. And having him have time to get healthy, having TJ Hawkinson another week, and then hopefully Aaron Jones. I mean, I think we can definitely be rocking heading into that Lions game. And at the worst case scenario, like you still, and I see people talking about too, worst case scenario, you got that defense. And then I know people are saying like Sam Darnold had the worst game of the season. And the fact that we still end up with the W in his worst game of the season just shows you how good this team is as a whole. So
yeah, and that's the thing. So far this year we've won pretty and we've won ugly, right? And in every game you feel like a different aspect of the team has stepped up at certain points when you need them to. So I like that's and everybody, all the power rankings, that's what they're saying. Like this is what elite teams do. This is what Super Bowl contending teams do. They find ways to win games no matter what. And this isn't like 2022 where every game's a nail biter where you find a way to win at the end. Like this is legitimate. Like you're dominating a lot of these football games for quite a bit of the game. So yeah, I think like this team is really, really good. This team is one of the top teams in football, if not the top team in football. And I am like, I'll say it again, I am not concerned about the offense. And that's the big thing. Kevin O'Connell has the bye week to assess these last couple games and really get things, find out what went wrong and adjust to it. So I think we're going to be just fine. I think Sam Darnold, it was a bad game. I like everybody's all of a sudden now negative on Darnold. Like, oh, yeah, I had a bad game. Here we go. It's like every quarterback, like you said, every quarterback has bad games. Sam Darnold is going to be just fine. I think against Detroit, we're going to see the Sam Darnold of old pop up now that he has a week to recover and a week to get over that Jets game and just start rolling again like he has been.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, that's something we're also hoping. And you can feel somewhat confident. I mean, he went, a 3.5 game stretch where he's balled out and is to this day is still a potential favorite for MVP. So we got a good sample size that we feel like he can stay consistent with this, though there's always that chance where he could still turn him back into that old Sam Darnold. And I don't think it's going to be that way. I'm not betting on that. It's not impossible that's going to happen. But I do think, I don't know. I think there's definitely a chance or a great chance that you do, like you said, I think he goes into that Lions game and he cleans a little bit of things up and really is just not
Right.
forcing too much down the field. And especially
Yeah.
like, because there's some wide open guys there and you got a lot of talent. I do think getting TJ Hawkinson back will be huge for a lot of those situations, especially kind of more like more
Over the
like
middle.
dump offs and
Yeah.
over the
Short over the
middle
middle
type
stuff.
of plays is what we're kind of missing here. Even though it has been open at times for him to do that, but he's
Yeah.
been trying to push down the field or whatever. And at
Right.
the end of the day,
Yeah.
like I still respect him. I respect
Mhm.
him being. I think you kind of need to have that mentality a little bit. Something that Kirk Cousins doesn't really have,
Right.
unless he's been able in the last year or so. Kirk Cousins has kind of been able to, like, when he needs to have it happen, like in this last game, like otherwise you lose, you'll see him kind of open up. But other than that, up until that point, he doesn't really push the ball down the field a lot. And that's kind of different with Sam Darnold. So I do like that he's doing that,
Yeah.
because I do think it's important.
Yeah.
Uh
See, and like what I was hoping, like what I thought we were doing early, like I thought we were taking those deep shots to test their corners and then eventually try to open things up,
that's not
like
your
like
thing
let them know,
first.
like, hey, we're not afraid to throw
Used to
deep
be.
against. Like we know you have two good corners, but we're not afraid to throw deep. I was hoping that they were just kind of setting up some shorter intermediate stuff. It never got to that point.
Yeah.
But I think a big thing that people need to remember when it comes to Sam Darnold and reverting to the old Sam Darnold was old Sam Darnold would get skittish in the pocket when he get a little bit of pressure. He would just make stupid decisions, right? And just,
Right.
seeing ghosts or whatever. Like we're not seeing any of that. This was just a
No.
game of him not on, like missing throws. He was confident still. He was
Bro.
taking the shots and he was throwing the
Yeah, you
football.
could almost say he's being too confident.
Yeah, like this was not old Sam Darnold at the end. Like this is just a guy who had an off game. Like we haven't seen old
Yeah.
Sam Darnold pop up too much this season, right? There's a few plays here and there,
No.
but this isn't seeing ghost Sam Darnold. This is just missing throws. So I'm not, I'm not exactly. We have to nitpick right now to find these negatives and pick one bad game of Sam Darnold and just like whatever. So I'm not worried. This team's going to be just fine. And again, like
Yeah.
and Mark, like you said earlier, the Lions are the next big test, right? Because this is after the bye week when the offense hasn't been clicking on all cylinders like we've necessarily seen for the first 3.5 years of the season. So I think we'll really know how we feel about this. We say it every week. We'll really know how we feel about this team when we get to that Lions game, to see the type of adjustments that KOC made. And this Lions team, as we've seen, can get beat through the air. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward. I think that game's gonna be fun. I'm really, really excited for that one.
Dude, 100%. And dude, that's the thing, is like I do get it as far as being a Viking fan, and honestly, it is like you want all, especially how we started the season, where against Houston, everything was good, defense, offense, special teams, just everything all around was great. And then you see the offense coming down, and then you get a little worried. But at the end of the day, we are 5-0. We're 5-0 going into this bye, going to Lions fans. Like I get the nitpicking thing, and I mean, sometimes I do too. I want us to be perfect. And it is funny how you go into the season thinking we're not going to be like that great and we're really good. And now we're nitpicking everything, and our standards are super high and things like that. But that's what we're here for. We're here to be like, hey guys, we're 6-0. We have a really good defense. And
Almost.
in every single time, or 5-0, going to be 6-0. We're
We'll
5-0,
be 6-0,
and
yeah.
every time we've had like a defense like this and a very capable offense, especially 2009 with Brett Favre, it's a different feeling. Like we're contenders. We go into playoffs. In those two instances, we made it to the NFC Championship. Hopefully, we can even do better than that. But it's a big part of it is because we have a good defense, and we know for a fact we have a really, really good defense. That, I mean, 3 turnovers in this game. We got to be leading the NFL in turnovers by this point, right? I haven't checked recently.
Either us or the Packers. I know the Packers
or the
have.
Packers. I don't know how. I didn't really look to see how a lot of other teams did too deeply. I'm not sure what they look like as far as turnovers go. But yeah, I mean, that's huge. That's huge. And we have all the talent you could ever want on offense. And it's really just Sam Darnold still playing consistent. And like you said, he's still playing confident out there. It's not like he's seeing ghosts. And that's everything that we could ask for from him. And hopefully it keeps going. We need Texas versus Likes, because I'm deciding who's more annoying, Packer fans versus Lion fans. Dude.
Got to put the Lions
I
fans
know.
in their place.
Lions fans, it's kind of
crazy.
crazy. Lions fans were waiting. They had it all held in, and as soon as they were good for 1 year, they just let it all loose. Because I get it too. I mean, I'm always gonna be against Packers first, but man, the Lions fans, they ain't messing around. So it'd be nice to go there, or for them to come here, or not in Minnesota, and fuck some shit up. So that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm hoping for.
On this offseason, we move up or bring in. I'm sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
If that does become the case, I honestly do not hate the idea of bringing in Robert Saleh. If that's what it ends up, if he's willing to come here.
Yeah. Speaking of that,
we just got him fired. He's going to be on the streets. Like, I would not mind bringing him in. I think he's a really, really good. I mean, he's a very good defensive coordinator. That defense is always really, really good. It's just everything else. Just some guys, I think I saw multiple people say it on Twitter. Some guys just aren't meant to be head coaches. Does Brian Flores eventually fall into that category of guys who are just really good at their jobs, but they're not great head coaches? Maybe. I mean, it all depends. Maybe. Again, it all depends on the quarterback relationship, whether that's true or not. He's going to get another shot, no matter what. With either before or after the lawsuit kind of gets settled, he is going to get another shot somewhere.
There's just no way he doesn't. He's too good.
He's too good. Yeah, exactly.
He's too good. You have to really not like to win if no one hires him. Like you're more worried about that.
For sure. So he'll get hired somewhere. But yes, if it does happen this next offseason, I know that there's like whatever, I can't remember their names, the two guys that were calling plays during the preseason, they probably have a legitimate shot. But I mean, if you do want to bring somebody in, as I said, not opposed to bringing in Rob Saleh at all. He's proven to be a very good defensive player.
I'm just gonna hope that we keep Flores until we don't.
Oh, but again, it all depends on the job, right? If there's not a job good enough, then don't take it. If you're Brian Flores, right? Like if you're gonna go to a place like the Jets, like why? Because if you're going to the Jets, the big thing is going to be your relationship with your quarterbacks. That's what it all comes down to, and I don't know.
It never works out.
I personally just don't think he goes there, but time will tell. But anyway. I guess, so we talk about the game, Vikings 23-17, big W. Don't worry about the offense. Defense is still legit. Will Reichard's a GOAT. Like, that's all we got to talk about there. But I guess going into the bye week, anything you're looking at for, I mean, I guess the first thing other than everybody just be smart, like keep Addison off the freeways and all that type of stuff. I mean, outside of just, keeping everybody smart and hopefully we get everybody back healthy. Anything else you're thinking about at the bye week at this point?
Bring back the Zim Reaper. I don't know how that's going for them over there.
No.
Trade JJ McCarthy for Daniel Jones. Yeah, dude. I guess the big one is just it came at a good time. I feel it's early in the season, which is always kind of. I don't really love I don't usually love to have one that early, just because I don't know. You kind of like the halfway point's kind of nice. But in this scenario, we just went through the hardest part of our schedule, at least the worst 5-game stretch. And it's the perfect time. We got Sam Darnold's a little banged up. Aaron Jones is banged up. TJ Hawkinson's around the corner. So really, this is all about just trying to get healthy going into this Lions game. And, we talked about it before, this is just kind of this is like the last game. Like after we could say this is our hardest stretch. We still have one game left of our hardest stretch of the year, even though we play them again. Because after that, then you got the Rams, who have not been good without Puka and Cup, and we'll see what happens with them when we play them.
There for that game, Cooper Cup might be, Puka won't be.
Yeah. So and still, they just haven't been playing great. I think we can definitely take them on, and it'll be kind of nice. I'll be ready to go and beat the Lions, and then have just like a stretch of games where you're not playing such great teams. Because that's the thing, is like the Jets. That's the thing in this game. Like, yes, we almost allowed the comeback or whatever, but 23-17 against a really good Jets defense, and especially their secondary that is kind of known as being one of the best in the NFL. And of course, not everybody's going to. There's games where Patrick Mahomes doesn't score a touchdown against teams like this. So it does happen. And obviously, same with the Packers. Like, the Packers are a good team, not as good as us, obviously, but they're a good team. So we've played hard teams. Like, we're not supposed, if our offense was struggling against like a Carolina's defense or something like that, that's like more worrisome than Sam Darnold struggling against one of the top secondaries in the NFL and some of the top cornerbacks in the NFL. So,
hey Nick, stay safe out there, my man. Like, it looks like that one's pretty rough. So yeah,
dang, dude, where you were evacuating? Yeah, that I've been hearing about that one too. All these hurricanes just popping out of nowhere.
I know, right? Damn government.
definitely get out while you can.
Kidding. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds. Yeah, I mean, I know. Like we had a truckload of stuff that was supposed to go down there at work, and they said they're closing pretty much all the roads head down that way. So, not good. Not good.
That's
so
crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess outside of that, just my big thing is just like you said, it's coming at a good time after that tough stretch. It's like it's got to be an exhausting stretch, right? Like your fans thought you were going to come out with 1 or 2 wins. You played tough teams, like Super Bowl contending teams. Sure, their records don't necessarily look it right now, but the 49ers will find themselves in the conversation at the end of the year. The Texans are still really, really good.
Houston's 4-1.
The Giants are playing some damn good football right now on both sides of the ball.
Right.
Really good defensive line there. So, and the Jets, of course, Aaron Rodgers at defense, whatever. So I'm and the Packers on the road, that type of stuff. So I think it's coming at a good time. Just get your head back on straight, because you prove, like, going into the first half of that Packers game, you almost felt like you weren't human, right? And now you had a game and a half that proves, hey, this team is human. You can lose if you don't try, if things don't go your way necessarily. So you get to take all those lessons. You get a week to ponder them. I mean, like the players are taking some time off. Kevin O'Connell he might take a day or 2 off, but he'll be, he's going to be in the office getting things straightened out. So I think he's going to have some time to look inward and just kind of, take in what happened and adjust. And I think he's going to come out on the other side of this bye week with some really, really good ideas. I think he's, just going to get the team's head back on straight. Be like, hey, we're human. We can't go into every game thinking we're unbeatable. We have to figure things out on offense for sure, which he's already mentioned. Defense, you guys just keep doing what you do. Everything's going to be okay here. So I think it is coming at a good time. 5-0. And you get to basically, you kind of get to reset after a really tough stretch of the season. And what better way to prove that you're doing the right things and you made the right adjustments than a home matchup against the Detroit Lions. Like, that's going to be such a good test to see how you take in what happened in the first 5 weeks and correct your things during the bye week and come out firing. So I think everything came at a perfect time. I think honestly, the Lions are are the game that you want coming off that bye week after your first stretch here. So I think everything's setting up perfectly for this team. So everybody, again, just stay healthy, stay safe. Don't do anything stupid during the bye week. Get to the Detroit Lions game. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. And including you, Nick. Yeah, definitely, dude. Yeah. Try to figure something out, man. You definitely gotta, definitely stay safe, dude. Especially if you can't really go anywhere. Hopefully there's somewhere you can go. Cause it doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Hey, Rap, my guy, let's go. 5-0. That's one thing. That's like, pretty much when I run into anybody that's Viking fans and stuff up here, anyone that says it, I just say, like, before the game started, it's just like 5-0. Like, let's go get 5-0. And then afterwards, it's just saying the same thing. 5-0. Yeah, let's go 5-0. Keeps it easy.
Take car keys away. Yeah, right.
But it's crazy, man. Okay, yeah, takes his car keys away. Dude, that's what we're saying. 5-0. Like you said, going to the bye, getting healthy, and going against a Detroit team that does have to play. Did you say, do they have a short game or a short week or no? Why did I feel like they had a short week?
Well, the Lions had a bye this week, or had a bye this last week.
Oh, this last week. That's what it was.
Yeah, this last week had a bye. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Because I screwed me in fantasy because I had freaking Gibbs.
Hey, what's going on, Crown? Thanks for hopping in, my man.
Hey, what up, Crown, my guy?
Exactly. But yeah, no, and I don't know. I'm really excited. I'm really excited where the team's at, because that's the thing. It's like, how good is it that, yes, this team still has things to work on, but you're 5-0. Like, that's where you want to be. Like because if you're perfect, then you're gonna go into this thing too high, right? So like, you've proven that you still have things to work on, but yet you're undefeated. You're the top team in the NFC. It's a great spot to be, and a spot that not a lot of us thought we would see at this point.
Yeah, dude, 100%. And on top of that, because that's what's weird about this season, because odds are we're gonna lose at least one game.
Hey,
we're probably gonna lose out.
Whoa, calm down here.
We probably, like, odds say that. That doesn't mean it's gonna come true. We might go 17-0. Like, I know I watched your guys'. I was in the airport on my way there when I was watching you, Rap, and Dave going through the predictions or whatever, and you guys all had 17-0. And it's definitely possible. But every team, teams are going to have bad games.
Yeah, right, for sure.
And our defense is going to have there's a chance anyways. Maybe not. Hey, maybe we go 17-0 and our defense is just balls out every single week. But there's a chance that they have a bad week. It doesn't mean they're going to have one every single week. Hopefully we don't have a game where, like, both of them suck or whatever. But I do think I don't know. I feel confident. I feel confident our offense is going to turn around after this week. And it is just kind of crazy how each week we just get to bring another guy back like we did with Jordan Addison and hopefully with TJ Hawkinson. I do think the Aaron Jones thing is concerning. It was pretty apparent to see what happens when he's not on the field. You're not
Yeah.
getting the same production out of Ty Chandler, not even close, as Aaron Jones. And that is a big concern. And, I saw people talking about it earlier about like getting ETN
But you
or
have
who
such
I
such
think people
limited
saying
draft
Nick
capital
Chubb
next
or
year. Like you're not making a trade like that
no.
for
And we're in a weird situation where it was like this wasn't supposed to be that year, at least from a Vikings fan standpoint, where it's like you get to the point where you're like, well, we gotta go and trade up, go and get a Dexter Lawrence, which I'd be if you could get him and sign him to like a long-term extension or whatever, great. But like making those Super Bowl winning or contending moves this year, which makes it pretty for me and you specifically, because we've talked about that this year was kind of for us to like, we wanted to be good, but we kind of want to go this off season and have like our next Super Bowl window with JJ
yeah.
McCarthy is the next 4 years after this or whatever.
Yep.
But it is going to be an interesting situation because we are good. And you do feel like you probably should make some smart moves at the deadline. But at the same time, like you don't want to ruin that
When that's why, like you
4 year
said, it
window
has to
with JJ
be.
McCarthy.
It would have to be a deal in which you make a trade, and your plan before you make the trade, kind of like the Bears did with Montez Sweat last year. Like your plan is when you trade for the guy that you're as soon as he gets here, you're already saying like if his contract, like let's say, I mean, I'm not sure. I guess I haven't looked at what Dexter Lawrence contract situation is, but like if it's a fact he's on an expiring deal, like you're bringing him in with the fact that as soon as he gets here, or you're talking to his representation before the trade, like hey, we want to make sure he wants to be here for the long term because we'll trade for him. But we have the plan of bringing him in here because he's still young and knowing we want to keep him for the next 4 years. So we want to make sure he's cool with that before, like, so it has to be a little bit like he'll help us now, but also he's going to be like filling a need for the
Part
future
of that.
before you make that trade.
Right.
So it has to be a deal where like they know they can get him locked down for a long-term thing.
Yeah.
And like, yes, because I'm not trading a first round pick for a 1-year rental, especially knowing what we have going forward with a rookie quarterback who, as much as I've enjoyed seeing what Sam Darnold has done, like it's almost one of those things like just get through the season, have him play well enough. We'll see what happens, but just get through the season and make us look good so that we know we have a good team when McCarthy steps in. Like,
yeah, exactly. And especially when we go out and try to get free agents and things like that. And hopefully, I mean, hey, we're good. And we've talked about it a million times. Like we're good, a good team. And our like the backbone is the defense. And like I've said before, whenever we've had defenses doing this, the last time I can think is 2009, 2017. We made it to the NFC Championship. That's why this year feels different, specifically this. And our offense has all the weapons that you want. So the reality is like there is a chance. I do think we're definitely Super Bowl contenders. It's weird. But if we do go make those moves, like you do have to also, you feel like you do have to worry about the future too. You have to worry about that 4-year window, like no matter what. And if you get Lawrence, if you get a guy like that, but as far as at this point, if Tank Bigsby takes over ETN, you can go and grab some of these running backs for pretty cheap, even though we don't have a lot of picks. We don't have our third round pick until this offseason. So yeah, exactly. So, I mean, there's not really a lot we can do as far as trading goes, unless you were to make a big trade and you were to go grab a guy like Dexter Lawrence. You gave up our first round pick next year, which I would easily do. And then I'm assuming you'd probably have to give up like a second or whatever, more than it wouldn't be just that one first rounder for a guy like him. But he's someone that you're like, I'll take that chance for him, especially since we're going to have to pick 32 anyways. And that'd be crazy. We're going into our like Super Bowl. Like that's if we were to win the Super Bowl this year, like it automatically goes from Super Bowl to like, what is it called? Dynasty. Yeah. So it's like if that happens, like we win our Super Bowl this year, it's like, dude, we're set up for like that next dynasty, the Patriots level, and like Kansas City level dynasty.
Right. And the thing is like, because you're going to want to build a competitive team for the future. Because like, honestly, like let's, I mean, I know we're all Vikings fans first in NFC North, but let's sit back and look at this. Like the Packers, I'm sorry with Jordan Love, like we'll see what he ends up being, but you feel like the Packers aren't going anywhere. The Lions, I mean, they're spending a lot of money right now, but they're going to be good. I mean, they're at least going to be good for the next couple seasons. And Caleb Williams, and I know it's just the Panthers, like the Bears are starting to shape up. So it's like you're going to want the best team possible because this NFC North, it's going to be tough for the next 3 to 4 years, right? So like you're going to want to make sure that you're building the most competitive team and you're not like basically blowing it all on just this one hope at a Super Bowl this season. Like you gotta, and Kwesi, Quasi's been doing this whole career here so far. He's been thinking about the present while also building towards the future, and we're seeing how that's working here. So I trust that they have a good plan in place. I trust that they're going to keep going for the pin this season and try to win a Super Bowl now, because you have to. But this season is going so far 5-0. I get it, but like so far, like this season is going exactly how you and I talked about, right? Like you want to see that you have the right coaching staff, the right management group leading this team towards the future, and we're seeing that in strides right now. So.
Right.
This is exactly the type of season you wanted. Competitive rebuild, and that's what we've been doing. We're competitive now, and we're still building for the future. So this is the vision. This is the dream. This is what we all wanted coming into the season. Like we talked about in the past, the tank crowd to me never made any sense this season.
No, it doesn't, because you want we do, like, one guy in next year's draft isn't gonna. If we would have been a bottom 5 team, one guy from the draft in the first round or whatever isn't gonna be good enough for you to start like feeling confident going into a JJ McCarthy window. But it's kind of fucked up how, like, for me and you, I guess it kind of feels like us being really good and being a Super Bowl contender. It's like, it feels like a bonus, because that wasn't what we were expecting out of it.
Right,
we just wanted to be, we wanted to feel confident. Everything around JJ McCarthy was ready to go going into his, as soon as he became a starter, which would meant like Sam Darnold had like an up and down season or whatever. But the fact that like we can feel confident about that moving forward in the next 4 years, because we got all these guys locked down with Christian Darrisaw right before the season, Justin Jefferson, all these things, TJ Hawkinson, and I mean a lot of these other young guys. It's kind of crazy how it does just kind of feel like it's just a bonus now that, we're just like ready right now for the Super Bowl with or without JJ McCarthy. And once we do bring him in here, I don't know. It's like it's crazy, man. It's different in the sports here.
We were fully expecting this stretch after the Lions game to be the one that gets us back to 500. Like when we came, like, and I know it makes it sound like bad Vikings, but we were being realistic. Like we were thinking, like, oh, we're gonna have like 2 wins, 1 to 2 wins by the bye week. Probably lose to the Lions, and then after that, you got an easy stretch to get yourself back up to 500. So that's exactly that's what we were expecting. We were expecting a team that we thought would end the season with, like, we always thought the 4 to 6 win projection was. Almost said a not so good word. We thought it was stupid. Like we thought there was no chance that this team was going to win more than 4 to 6 games. Is what we thought. But like,
and we're
thinking, like, I remember when we did our projections, we were like 9 to 10 wins, and that would have been fine with us, right?
Yeah,
like
I mean, the first projection we had was 10 wins, and that was like a serious, like that was a serious one. That wasn't me saying 17-0, even though I should have committed and I would look like a fucking genius right now. But we were like legit 10 wins, and that was higher than pretty much anybody, I would say, is people didn't think that would get 10 wins. And that was with us starting the season 2-4, right? I believe that's what it was, 2-4.
Yeah.
I think we gave ourselves the Rams or whatever.
We beat the Giants, we beat the Rams. Yeah, I think that was kind of
yeah. So we started and still gave us 10 wins. And right now
we beat the Jets too. I think we had us beating the Jets. Maybe.
Okay, so maybe we had us starting 2-3. 2-3 probably. So yeah, I mean, the fact that we're sitting here 5-0 with wins against Houston, the Packers, and Detroit, or the Niners, and then about to be Detroit. Obviously, yeah, this season is going way better than anybody could expect in us, and a lot of it does come down on Sam Darnold. And again, I'll just say this again with him. And last week, yeah, he had his worst game, but you definitely have to give him credit for how he's played in the clutch, and he's done it 3 times this year. Yeah. Where he's going down the field in a big moment and setting us up with some sort of points, whether it's field goals or a touchdown. Yeah, and that's massive, especially after having multiple drives where we're not moving the ball much and we're having 3 and outs and we're having all these things. But then, like, when it matters, he's getting us down the field to get some important points. And that's huge. That's the difference maker of being a quarterback that can win a Super Bowl and not.
Because what did you say about Brock Purdy last year? Like, yeah, sometimes it's not perfect, but when he needs to make plays to lead to points, what did Brock Purdy do last year? He made plays that led to points. And I honestly wholeheartedly
think in the Super Bowl,
we were driving for a touchdown if Jefferson doesn't drop that first down pass that hits him right in the hands, right? Like that's a touchdown right there. We're gonna drive down the field and score and put that game completely out of hand and not put it in the hands of our defense, but. It is what it is. Like, exactly. We're 5-0. we can't. I mean, I think. Like I think the fact that we're sitting here like complaining, like like you said, nitpicking is just our Vikings fans in us. It's like, oh, well, at least when it crumbles down, we'll be prepared for it. But I don't know, man. I
Yeah.
think this team just seems way too legit to me. Like I said, I trust
Yeah.
Kevin O'Connell and Sam Darnold to get back to playing like they were. I think the offense is gonna be just fine. The defense, as we've seen, there's no issues there. Everything's going exactly we wanted it to.
Yeah.
We have the best.
And that's
We have this least swaggiest kicker in the NFL in Will Riker.
yeah. And I love it, dude. He's
I
like,
do too.
it's so funny how
I want
popular
to
he
like
is.
if we do the jersey thing, man.
Yeah, we'll do
I
it.
think
We'll
I'm
get
getting a
some
Will
jerseys.
Riker jersey for sure.
Oh yeah,
Gotta
no, we
represent.
gotta get you one for sure. We
Gotta
gotta get
represent.
you one for sure. No, dude. And what I was gonna say is, what was I gonna say? I don't know. It is just crazy. It's crazy. And 5-0. Brian Flores, and that's what I want to say is, like Brian Flores is just he's insane, and it is kind of scary. It's gonna be scary, like the idea of like not having him in that window or whatever. That's scary, and I'm hoping that I don't even know. I'm like, it's hard because of course, you're gonna hope that dude gets a head coach job that he deserves, but at the same time, like you don't want him. You want him to be here forever. But besides that, like you just gotta tip your hat off, and I'm sure Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell is in Kwesi's ear, but that dude murdered this last year's free agency with Grenard, Cashman, Van Ginkel, Shaq Griffin, Stephon Gilmore. Like how often does a GM or defensive coordinator, Kevin, offense or head coach, whatever, all the people that make the decision to go after these guys, go and grab that many players who come in and contribute to the way they all have. Like every single one of them have been players of the week. And Stephon Gilmore with that game sealing pick. Like that's so crazy.
But a big thing, like because you can do that now. You can supplement holes with free agents now. But the one thing that Kwesi does still need to improve on, I think we can all agree here, is just being a little bit more consistent drafting. Because once you do get to the point where you are going to end up having to pay JJ McCarthy if he is your guy, like in order to keep teams competitive when you start having a bigger payroll, it's all about drafting and developing young talent that can take place of some higher price guys that you can let walk. So, well, yes, like right now, the idea of building with free agents, you can do that because you are in a window with a young quarterback. That's fine. But eventually, you do want to also see some homegrown talent, which we're starting to see that. And he is improving year by year with drafting. Dude, and this next season, it's not really going to contribute much because we have 4 picks. But eventually, that will be the next step.
Got a first rounder,
right? But the next,
which is G after getting JJ McCarthy without giving it up, though.
For sure. But the next step for Kwesi is just being a little bit more consistent drafting. But yeah, with the free agents we've signed, with how he's building this team right now, you can't complain about it. But
dude, no, it's set up. It's set up, man.
And I honestly
and we're only going into the season. We're going in the season with even more money. And that's the whole thing, like the Sam Darnold thing. And at this point, like Sam Darnold's going to be like, oh, like, last 2 weeks ago, everybody, or even just a week ago, everybody's having the conversation of Sam Darnold, what does he have to do this season for us to give him a contract and pretty much say, screw the whole JJ McCarthy thing or whatever, which is, Super Bowl. But then you still do see some of the Sam Darnold, like he's not that perfect franchise quarterback yet. We'll see what happens as the season goes on because, this is still his best team and he's just started and he has been at the very least like a very above average quarterback. These last, of course, recency bias, and it's easy to say like, these last 6 quarters haven't been great for him. But so it'll be interesting to see his just arc for the rest of this season here.
Yeah.
But I do think it's going to be good because this offense is only should get better. And hopefully we get Dalton Reisner back because again, Ed Ingram comes and has a struggles quite a bit. That's one thing that was really interesting to me actually. And me and you've talked about it every single week. We're like, Ed Ingram needs to be replaced. Ed Ingram needs to be replaced. But man, there's like a Ed Ingram like fan base growing out here who's got his back, which, hey, he's probably a nice guy and stuff like that. But I'm like, do we watching the same games? Because he's had one good pass blocking week, which was last week, I believe, right? The Packers game. Other than that, he has not been good in pass blocking all year, in my opinion. And as far as anything on that offense that needs to be proved, it'd be just that spot. Other than Garrett Bradbury, I guess you could probably say him sometimes. He hasn't been doing too bad for the most part of recent, but this offense just keeps getting better and better with TJ Hawkinson. And I guess Aaron Jones for sure. If Aaron Jones doesn't come back, that does hurt quite a bit. But
yeah, but I guess at the end of the day, Vikings 5-0. We should all be happy. We got a bye week coming up at the perfect time, as we've talked about. Things are looking up for us Vikings fans, and I don't know, man.
Gary, you got
I'm
us 11-6.
That's low, dude. Come on, Gary, give us.
That's low. We just
man.
went through. I mean, technically, if we were to go, if we gave ourselves 10 wins, we had us losing against the Packers in Lambeau.
I think we had the division on the road for 3 of them. Right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I do. I think we split 3 of them. And so, including, I'm pretty sure we said we gave us the L in Lambeau. That means that we've already surpassed 3 of the L's that we had. That means if we were to redo ours and kept like the remaining schedule, that means that's 13 wins right there.
But again,
it just gets easier.
It's hard to win a game in the NFL. Hopefully this team isn't going to be riding too high. Is KOC a good play caller? I've heard some say he's great.
Hey, what up, Tone? Oh, sorry, my bad.
No, you're good.
I didn't see you do that. Boom.
I think he's really, really good. Again, and I think some of the things we saw was Darnold just making some poor decisions on some good play calls. I mean, there's still some things like obviously, yes, short yardage play calls need to be a little better and some execution things. But I mean, I think there are a lot of the players that say like, no, it's out there for us. We just got to execute better. And I think that is true. But so yes, I think he's really. I don't know if I'd call him like great elite. I know some people say that. I think he's really, really good, and I think it's only going to get better because he's only in his 3rd year of doing this full time.
Yeah, and we'll kind of see the gas thing. Whatever he says in that Packers game, I still feel like he pressed off the gas. There's definitely a couple plays I do not think
he did not though, and that's what I appreciate. He's showing like I'll be aggressive,
and right, and he should continue. That's why my one concern. But dude, what he did in the Houston game and what he did in the 49ers game and the Giants game, those first 3 games, that was elite level play calling. And maybe these last couple games you can see it wasn't there as much. But he definitely, at the very least, he has the potential to be an elite level play caller, because there were some of those, especially that Houston game, there were some of those plays that he called that was just so perfectly timed. And I definitely trust him to be that offensive mind that we want from him. And he's still a young head coach in this league. And I don't know, but I think if you're talking about like, there's some people that say elite, I do think he can, I definitely think he can be elite. And we've seen him be elite play calling in a few games this season. And there's still a lot of people out there, who I've heard people say that they think he could end up being the best offensive mind outside of Andy Reid. So I don't know if I go that far yet, but he's definitely showed it in a couple games.
Yeah. I think again, we say this every week, but the Lions are going to be like, I feel like we always say, we'll know a lot about this team at this game. And I think we've said that every week. I'm really excited to see how we play against the Lions. I think that one's going to be a ton of fun. I'm ready to go for that one. Anything else you got before we end her here?
Nope. What? It's like we're almost midnight here, so
I suppose you gotta get to bed. We gotta let you get some sleep. But everybody, thank you so much for joining us on this Victory Tuesday. Your Vikings are 5-0. We probably won't have anything the rest of this week. Probably get back. When are you coming back again? You leave Friday, you said?
Yes. I leave Friday at like noon or whatever. So I'll be back Friday.
Okay.
And then we'll have to figure
probably next Monday.
I guess we haven't really discussed what we probably won't have one on Thursday. I definitely won't be able to on Thursday.
Yeah.
Obviously it's the bye week.
I'll take the bye week off. We had to get on for something. We got our thoughts out tonight.
Casey held this shit down, bro. My guy held this down. Bleacher Report twice, because of course I'm in my flood. And again, Nick, be careful out there. But I was in the whole flood thing, had to miss a Bleacher Report, and then go straight to this. And Casey held that shit down with four 4 podcasts without me in the last couple of weeks, so that's been huge.
We made it work. We had to make it work, but
yeah. So I definitely owe this guy a beer or something eventually. Next SKOL Fest. Gary owes you a beer for me.
But all right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Your Vikings are 5-0 headed into the bye week. We'll see you next week. We'll talk a lot about Detroit. Yeah, we'll see you guys next. Jamie, enjoy the rest of your trip. Everybody else, enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you next week, and you can catch us right here next Monday live on the GG Sports Podcast.
SKOL Vikes.